Hi, I'm Rebecca Siciliano, and I'm here today with Angela.Lopes, who heads up our Tiger City office. I'm just talking about our recruitment snapshot and what we've seen in the market. So I guess if we're first of all looking at last quarter, August, we actually saw a much busier August than expected. And I think it was everyone trying to get ahead of the recruitment processes and get hires in place before things got really busy in September. September, we did see that pick up as everyone expected. What that actually meant were longer interview processes, and we saw sort of, second stage and third stage interviews get sort of pushed back just because the people that were supposed to be interviewing were so busy or traveling. And then, moving into October, I feel like now it's really started to steady out again. Angela, would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the concepts I've certainly seen is talent hoarding, and that's been pretty apparent, I think, over the last quarter, and certainly coming into towards the end of the year, just whereby companies haven't been necessarily doing the recruitment or replacing positions. And I think off the back of that, we've certainly seen an increase in temporary roles that have come through where they've hired in the interim, and the key focus being retention of their existing staff, because they know that the market's going to pick up, but they just don't know when. And so I think from the temp side of things, it's great, because it's certainly given those immediate candidates, which, if you'll agree, I mean, I've certainly seen a lot more coming in over the last few weeks, at least, for a number of reasons. And then it's a case that these temps will be potentially converted, if not towards the end of this year, but next year. Have you seen something similar your side as well?
Definitely. I'm finding as well, there are more candidates, especially sort of at this more senior level, that are available immediately. And I think if you compare it to, earlier in the year, a lot of the candidates that were seeking because they wanted salary increases. Now it feels like the salaries have plateaued, but the candidates that are on the market and looking are available because of restructures, changes within the business, things like that have meant that they know their role is coming to an end, or that they are available immediately, which actually does make them more appealing for a potential hirer as well.
Yeah, and I think, with what I touched on before as well, where the companies want to retain their existing staff, but they're potentially not backfilling those roles, candidates are looking because they're not being offered any progression, or from their point of view, potentially being overworked, and they're not seeing that the hiring that's needed to support them in their positions. So I think that as on a whole, things are pretty steady. Recruitment roles are coming through, candidates are definitely looking, but at the same time, end of the year, bonuses now come into play. Yeah. And it's the question of, will companies look to maybe offer a sign-on, or are people going to hold out until the new year after they get paid?
Definitely. And align with that, I know the number of requests that we're getting through for salary benchmarking and things like that. It's always, we usually get more requests like that at this time of the year, but it seems more so at the moment, because people really want to make sure that they get those salary reviews right and don't end up losing staff into the new year as a result. So yeah, I would certainly agree with that. And so I guess, from here, what are you expecting for the next quarter?
I think probably a lot of the same that we've experienced recently, and it's just going to be, the word being steady. It does vary across industries. I think that, I'm starting to see a lot more positivity within financial services, more of those long-term temporary candidates getting the approvals to be converted perm. That is starting now to trickle through, which I think, across other sectors, it'll be interesting to see how they start to play out over the coming months as well.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's going to be sort of steady from here until the end of the year, and it'll be as it usually is. As we get closer to Christmas, it starts to slow down a little bit more, and candidates put their search on hold, and companies sort of think, oh, we'll wait until the new year for the hiring. But again, if you look at January of this year, I think it maybe took a little bit longer to pick up. We'll see what happens for January 24.